For your samosa and sprinkle wraps, you will need 630 grams of all-purpose flour. I have 1 tablespoon of salt here, and I have a cup of vegetable oil. I have 2 cups of water. I have another 2 cups of all-purpose flour here, which I'll be using to work as I need and as I work with the dough. And I have my rolling pin here. You can use any rolling pin, but I prefer to work with this. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to add the salt to this flour. You ensure your hands are clean. So I'm just trying to combine the flour and the salt together. So I'm not going to add all my water at once because I might not be needing all, I might be needing more. It just depends on how you're working. So I have my cup here, and I'm going to first add a cup of water. So I can see that it's not enough. So I'm going to add, I have another cup here, and then I'm going to gradually add this 1 cup. I want my dough. So I'm adding into water again. So you can see my dough is very soft and it's sticking to my hand. That will not be a problem. I don't need my dough to come together now. So now I'm going to be transferring this to my work surface so you can see what is left from the 2 cups of water. So I'm just cleaning my work surface and I'm going to be sprinkling some flour. Don't be afraid of working with flour, though you start gently. So I'm transferring my dough to my flour surface and I'm going to start kneading. I'm just going to be kneading my dough. So after kneading this dough for about 5 minutes, so if you don't have a clock, you can set your timer to 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, so that you know when you need enough. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to be dividing this dough into two. I'm going to be dividing. You can see the dough is no longer that sticky and it's stretchy. So ensure you knead properly to get to this stage. So I'm just going to be dividing this into two. So I'm going to be setting half aside for my, half will be for my spring roll wrap, half will be for my samosa wrap. So I'm going to be setting one aside. I'm just going to sprinkle some flour where I will keep it. And then I'll work with this. I will start with my samosa wrap. What I'm going to do is knead some flour again in my work surface and then use it to knead this particular dough I'm working with. So after kneading it properly, it's ready. I'm just going to roll this into I'm just going to be cutting this into like, let me say 5, 1, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to pick each one. I'm going to sprinkle my flour here where I'm going to work. Ensure you work with enough flour. So I'm just going to kind of roll this. I want to roll it out to form a rectangular shape. You can roll it out to form a circular shape. Just depends. The most important thing is that at the end you should have this rectangles. So I'm going to sprinkle enough flour. I'm just going to start rolling this out. If you are working and it's sticking to your work surface, you just sprinkle a little bit of flour. So I'm going to sprinkle some flour here and drop this one. And repeat for this other one. I'm going to do this for all the remaining. I'm setting that aside too. On your work surface. I'm just going to start setting them. I'm going to pick them one at a time. So this is the first one. So this is where my oil comes in. So I have my oil here. So I'm just going to be using my hand to rub some oil on this. You want to ensure you rub oil on every corner. Otherwise you find it difficult to separate your dough when the time comes. So you can use your hand or you can use a pastry brush like this to spread the oil. So I'm just going to sprinkle little flour and then I place the second dough on it and then repeat the same thing. So ensure there's oil everywhere. Around the edges and the center. So sprinkle little flour again. Now repeat the same process for the other dough. So I'm placing the last dough, which is this one. So this one I don't need to rub oil. I can just sprinkle some flour on it. That my rolling pin will not be sticking to my rolling pin. So I'm just going to put this up and also sprinkle enough flour on my work surface. Then I have my rolling pin. I'm going to start rolling this. Roll the sides. From time to time as you roll, try to lift it up and sprinkle some flour so that it doesn't stick to the work surface. So after rolling out my dough, I'm going to be trimming out the edges because I want to have like a rectangular shape. I'm just using a ruler as a guide so that it will be straight. So now I just want to see how I have about 13 inches. I measure with my ruler. I have about 12 inches here. So I'm just going to be dividing this into like 3 inches, 3 here and 3 here. So I'm just going to use my ruler as a guide to cut. And I'm taking it cut into this one, so I'm just going to trim it out. So I'm going to come over here to cut another 3 inches out. And then I'll put the same thing here, another 3 inches. So now I have my baking tray, which I've already greased here. I'm just going to be lifting this, each of them, and placing them on the tray. I'm not sticking them together. I'm trying to space them out. And at the same time, still manage the space. I'm trying to manage my space so I can leave them all at once. So I've preheated my oven at 170 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to be baking this in the oven. So I'm going to just sprinkle some flour here. I want to work with my spring roll dough. You know, we divided our dough into two. I just want to ensure we mix it, we knead it properly until we incorporate all this flour. So after properly kneading my dough, I have this. So I'm going to be working the same process like I did with the Samosa dough. So I'm sprinkling some flour, and then I will roll out this dough. I'm also dividing it into 5. You can weigh it if you have. But I'll wait to be sure you are cutting into it for sizes. So I'm just sprinkling some flour, and then so now I'm going to start with the first dough. What I'm going to do is, as usual, my vegetable oil. I'm going to rub enough. I'm just putting wrapping the last dough. So here I don't need to rub. I just have to put enough flour. I roll out. And so we've exhausted our 2 cups of flour. So now I'm just going to add more flour here. Because I don't want this sticking to the roots of the soil. So after 15 minutes, my wrap is ready. I'm just going to allow it to cool a little so that I can separate it. So now you can lift it up and sprinkle some flour to ensure it's not sticky. As I'm working, I'm trying to be sure I'm getting accurate measurements. I don't want to roll out too thin. Just okay. So now I'm just going to be trimming out the edges so that I have a rectangle. So this is a pizza cutter. You can use a knife, but this just makes work easier. I'm just trying to measure this. So I have my 12 by 12 here. I'm just going to be dividing this into I'm dividing this into 4. So this will be 6 coming from this side. I'm going to put this 6. So 6. And then just going to put this into equal halves. So So just like pre-baked. So this can also be, for this samosa wrap, it's not that long, so it can sit in the pan. You can do it in a non-stick pan individually on very low heat and watch it. Once it starts to rise, you should, from what you get when you bake, you will know the results you get when you use the pan. So but the baking tray is much better because you can bake at once. So I've already greased my pan with oil again, and my oven is preheating. I'm going to arrange this. So I'm going to be baking this. So I'm going to be baking this for 15 minutes, just like we did when we we're making our samosa wrap. So I have my sheets here. So I just want to, because the edges might be dry by the time we are done, so I just want to trim it out so that I can easily separate it. This is not necessary, but it will help me trim it easier. So just ensure you rub enough oil to make the separating easier for you. So I have all of my sheets here. So like this, I can just trim it out a little. So I have another of my sheets here. I'm just going to be separating it too. So I'm going to lift from the edge and gently lift it up. So I'm going to be repeating the same process for the remaining wrap. That's it. It's so durable. That's it. I'm going to be repeating the same process for my remaining wraps till I'm done. So after baking our samosa wrap for 15 minutes, this is what we have here. So I'm just going to be separating them too. Like I said, if you are finding it difficult to separate, you can trim the edges. So let me trim this edge. Because we bent this one, we're arranging them in the pan. So Trimming the edges a little will just make it easier to separate, but just ensure you add enough oil when overlapping your dough so you don't find it difficult to separate them. I'm going to be beating them one after another. You need patience. You're working with this samosa and spring rolls. And this is the last one. You can see how durable it is. I'm just going to set this aside and repeat the same process for the other wraps. All you need is patience. Patience, 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 and gently, gently. Don't pull too hard. So you can see. So durable. You can see how nice it looks.